I would like to introduce other concepts and strategies based on scientific evidence that may be useful to examine philosophical problems. The first practice that I would like to mention is the expressive writing. James Pennebaker conducted several studies resumed in the book Writing to Heal, in which he shows that people who engage in expressive writing report feeling happier and less negative than before writing. The book offers exercises that anyone can undertake. Weeks and months after writing about emotional problems, reports of depressive symptoms, rumination, and general anxiety tend to decrease. The simple act of writing about some important problems, even if people destroy the written text immediately afterwards, has a positive effect on health. Other studies show that the benefits weren't just obtained by people who had tragic secrets, but they could also spread to persons who were dealing with divorces, job rejections, or a stressful activity. When people write about their emotional problems, their health often improves. They go to the doctor less, for example. Why do you think that this happens? Why can writing be useful?
It's a question to ask.
Yeah, it is.
Because we have to clarify our ideas in order to write them down.
And why do you clarify your ideas when you write them down?
I think writing is a form of communication, even if nobody reads. You have the illusion that you communicate. You communicate actually through writing.
Mm-hmm.
So
that could be another cause.
It is a moment when you stop living, in general, of course, and you begin a different kind of thought, thinking. I remember, for example, what happens with young children or more adolescents who needs to have a diary and to write and to know better themselves and to develop some vision of the world and in a first way the vision of himself to work.
That's it. There is another aspect, that is, when we write, we put things in order.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we think everything is too messy, and when we write, we have to put ideas in order. So, if writing can have such a dramatic effects on our lives, does that mean that we would be better if we kept a daily diary? What do you think? Pennebaker answers, no, not necessary. Why? While his work is not inconsistent with diary keeping, the one of Pennebaker, it acts more as a kind of life course correction. It allows people to step back for a moment, what George said, and evaluate their lives. Writing every day has a risk of getting into a sort of cycle of self-pity. But standing back every now and then and evaluating where you are in life is really important. If we write so that we can draw a lesson about the experience, it's not just writing. You have to draw a lesson of the experience. If not, it is useless to say, what can I learn about this? Writing helps us and we become active creators of our life stories. Some tips for writing to heal. Philosophers hate tips. They say, oh, that's self-help, that's useless. I think it's useful because it's based on scientific research. They are not orders. You can take some of these or none. 1. Find a time and a place where you will not be disturbed. 2. Write continuously for at least 20 minutes. 3. Don't worry about spelling or grammar. 4. Write only for yourself. 5. Write about something extremely personal and important for you. Personal and important for you. Quote, Pennebaker. People who are able to construct a story to build some kind of narrative over the course of their writing seem to benefit more than those who don't. We construct a story of our lives. So writing helps us to construct a story of our lives. Some time ago, a woman called Sarah came to a session of philosophical counseling. She told me that Paul, one of her friends, was afraid to ask his doctor if he had a terminal illness. Paul asked her to go to the doctor in his place and find out. She accepted and unfortunately informed to him that he had the disease, and his friend died time afterwards. Paul was very angry because of this and could not distinguish the message from the messenger. Sarah felt guilty about this situation for years, even being conscious that she only fulfilled Paul's request. We discussed the problem in the session, and I asked her to write during 3 or 4 days, at least 20 minutes a day, about the story with his friend. On the first day of writing, her story was not very structured or coherent, but in 3 or 4 days of writing, she was able to come up with a more structured story and realized that it made no sense to continue with the feeling of guilt. Making a story about a messy, complicated experience may make the experience more manageable. The act of confessing or expressing trauma has been part of healing for virtually all cultures, ranging from Native American cultures to those based on both Western and Eastern religious beliefs. Pennebaker also notes that writing should be used carefully. He doesn't recommend trying to write about a problem too soon after it happens, and says that if a topic seems like it's too much to handle, we should not try to tackle it before we are ready.